Hello there, Cancer. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot report, tarot forecast. This is going to be for Cancer, Sun, Ascendant, and Moon. Normally, the Sun sign is what's going to resonate the most, but sometimes the Ascendant resonates more, and occasionally the Moon sign resonates more. So you kind of want to experiment with that for yourself. I actually have my Sun sign and my Venus sign are in the same place, same house, so sometimes my Sun sign just talks about my love life and I have to look at my Ascendant for my business life or career. So everybody's chart is a little bit different. You want to experiment with that and sort of explore it for yourself as to which signs resonate with you the most and when, because I do find also that does change for me sometimes as well as I'm going through different things in life. So right now what we're doing is we are looking at November in this video, and I am breaking the video down into multiple sections. We're going to have 4 sections. This section is going to be looking at November the 1st through November the 7th. Let's see what kind of energy comes up for you Cancers during this time frame. All right, my dears, cards are on the table. Let's see what we have. First thing that I'm looking at talks to me about your environment. Normally the environment is home, sometimes it's school or work. Every once in a while it's just your own aura and your own body. So you want to have your mind kind of open to where is the environment that is showing up in the spread for you at this point in time. It looks like there's some kind of secret that you're keeping in your environment, and it looks like there's something that you feel like you haven't been successful with, and you're not sure that you have ideas about how to turn that around and make it successful. And I don't think that you're ready to share that information with other people just yet. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Subconscious leanings. These are background programs of your mind. There's some indecision coming up for you here, and this has to do with a heartache or a heartbreak that's happened, and it's really, I think this is something that has affected you deeply, Cancer. You are a water sign. That's not too surprising to see it affecting you deeply. But I feel like you're having a really hard time finding some happiness, finding a reason to smile right now. And I think that your subconscious is really working on the confusion that's around this heartache or the heartbreak and trying to figure out some kind of clarity for this situation for you. It feels like you're having a hard time moving past this heartache or heartbreak until you understand why it actually happened. And so your subconscious is working on, okay, why did that happen? Could very easily be tied in with the home situation, well, with the environment situation, excuse me. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style as we go through this particular time frame, Cancer. I do see that you are very sharp, very quick on the uptake whenever you're given new information. You can process that and make it useful for yourself in everyday living very quickly, and I do see you doing that. Looks to me like you are learning about some things that make you feel comfortable or comforted. You may be learning about ways to help to deal with emotions in a way that puts you in a more healthy space during this time frame. Definitely learning about emotions, and I think you're learning a lot about your own emotions and what makes you tick right now as well. Now, as far as communication style, I think that there's something going on where you're putting up a good front. We kind of already saw that you're keeping a secret about something going on in the environment, so this really would tie in with that you're putting up a good front. You're letting people think that everything is fine and dandy when really you're not feeling fine and dandy right now. Ba-bum, bum, bum. What else is going on as far as communication? I think that people that you normally would be communicating with a lot, I think you're communicating with them less and less right now. I think this idea I think that it feels to me like you like to communicate with them when you have good things to say, when you have happy things to say, when you can laugh and joke around, and you're just not in that mood where you're laughing and joking around right now. I think the communications that you are having are very much based around emotions and feelings at this point. And I think that those communications are really with just tight circle. Maybe only the people that are involved in the situation. Okay? All right, Cancers. What else do we have going on here? Let's look at work for you. Okay. So it looks like work area is actually you're feeling really good. You're feeling very self-confident in that area of your life, which pretty much tells me that what we're dealing with here so far is more of in the personal area of life. But work, you're feeling good. You're feeling self-confident. Self-esteem is up there. I think you may not be feeling like you have a lot of energy, and you may not be feeling inspired to do a lot of work right now. Especially if you have your own business and you don't have anybody, kind of breathing down your neck with deadlines and things like this. But definitely not feeling, really gung-ho about work, even though you know that you're good at it. I do feel like even though you're not wanting to put in a lot of energy, you're not feeling really creative or excited about work, I do feel like you are holding your own. You're doing exactly what you need to do at work. Okay? Now, la da 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 da. Let's look at inner work. I think you're really focusing on your own self-confidence and your own self-esteem as you're going through whatever this is where you're feeling defeated in the home. And I think you're actually doing pretty well in keeping that going. It does come to me that you may be feeling less than sexy lately. Okay? Less sexy than what you normally do. So inner work really is about keeping that self-esteem, keeping that self-confidence, kind of keeping your stuff together is more or less what I'm hearing as I'm looking at these cards as far as emotionally and mentally, as far as your own perception of you, not necessarily letting other people taint that perception of who you are and remembering who you actually are, even as other people are maybe making it a little bit difficult. Let's look at that part of your personality which is growing or expanding as we go through this particular time frame, Cancer. It does look to me like there is somebody showing up in your experience who is showing their true colors, and as you get to know their true colors, you realize that you don't think as highly of them as what you used to anymore. Now you're thinking that because you've seen their true colors, they're not the person that you thought that they were, and I think that's a disappointment to you. I'm also feeling like this person may have detached in some way from you, whether this is emotionally detached or whether this is somebody that just like moved out, but there is some kind of detachment that shows up here, and I think that as this person detached, in the way that they handled it is really what made you lose a lot of respect for them and feel like they were not the person that you thought they were before. And I feel like as they've detached from you, that has taken a lot away from you. Not necessarily just financially, although I think financially is a part of it. But I think also you guys were capable of creating some good memories or having some good times together. Um, you know, making plans and following through with them well. And I think that as this person's detached, you're feeling a little bit robbed of that. And you're, like I said, you don't have this person on a pedestal anymore. You're seeing them more for who they really are, since they've shown their true colors. Now, la da 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 da. What else? What do you stand for right now? Looks like you're being given the opportunity to make this go forward again, whatever this is, where this person has detached, and you're not taking it. You're just, no, I don't think you're even interested in this. It looks to me like you're much more interested in taking care of your own financial things than you are in having a redo on an emotional situation that left you feeling so badly. And I think that, you know, somebody has said something to you about this, like, well, you know, you wanted this person back, now you have the chance to reconnect with them. Why aren't you doing that? And you're just telling them, you know, it just doesn't make sense. How the other person sees you, they see you as somebody who has innate leadership qualities, that you're really good at pulling different forces together to get things accomplished. And they're seeing you as somebody who you're ready to definitely move forward with new ideas and new inspiration. I feel like this is more about income and business and career. And so they're seeing you as ready to move forward, but not necessarily having a good idea lined up to move forward with. But they do see you as a natural leader. It's almost like with not getting things going again with this person, that frees you to move forward and to lead more naturally and more organically without interference in ways that are inspired and happiness making. You've definitely got that opportunity or that go ahead, but you're having a hard time figuring out, well, okay, I've got all this energy that's flowing well and it would go in a good direction, but you're having a hard time figuring out what you want to do with that energy. What kind of project do you want to work on? What do you want to lead? Okay, because you're not there yet. You've got the go-ahead, but you're not quite there yet. All right, let's look at what happens during your flex point during this week. The flex point is just where things change shape or change direction a little bit for you during this time frame. So what we have coming up here, you do have somebody showing up in your experience who's very charming, but they have kind of a short span of attention. In other words, they like things when they're new and exciting, but as soon as the new and exciting wears off, then they're ready to move on to the next new and exciting project or person or whatever. And so you've got a person like this showing up in your experience, and it looks like they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes in some way. Probably, you know, talking in a very charming way. And I think that you recognize this. You see this as it's happening, and you're not so thrilled about this. I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't the same person that you saw their true colors. Well, now you're seeing them like 5 miles away, going, no thank you, I'll pass. Now, at the same time, it's not like you're not missing this person. I think you are missing this person. And it looks to me like, Cancers, you guys are focusing on, I think you're focusing on love. I think you're focusing on bringing the kind of love that you want into your life, onto bringing some kind of ideal version of love into your life. I don't see you as, even though you're missing this person, I don't see you as letting them back in, because I think what you're really missing is that idealized idea of love, and you don't have that with this person anymore since they've shown their true colors. Your idealized idea is gone. But you are working on manifesting something that is better. La da da da, what's going on at the same time? You may be going through a little bit of a backlash here. I'm just going to say, Cancer, I think that you're spending time with somebody with no plans to spend time with them again. I think you're trying to keep things light and casual. Problem is, I think that you're not feeling light and casual. This may be, I mean, you're in a really vulnerable time. From everything I've seen so far, you're in a really vulnerable time. And you could be looking for a rebound, basically, for some comfort. And if this doesn't apply to you, then you may want to check your rising or your moon sign. Obviously, this isn't going to apply to every single Cancer on the planet, though. And so I think that you are, though, because you're single, I think you're getting some relief, so to speak, in a light way, no strings attached type of way as you go through this time period. Even as this person is coming back, trying to do something sort of sneaky, and you're recognizing that and not liking it. It's almost like, you're doing something with somebody else just for the comfort of knowing, well, somebody, can act decently. Although I'm not sure how you can, this is a casual situation that you're doing. I think your feelings are much stronger than the casual situation, though. I'm a little worried about you, to be honest, Cancers. All right, let's look at where we see you at the end of this particular time frame. I do see you as being abundant, having plenty, knowing that you have plenty to do everything that you need to do, and having plenty of friends around you as well. And I think there's somebody in your life who, and this is somebody, I think this is the somebody we were seeing earlier. This is somebody who has been in charge. This could be a spouse or a significant other, but this is somebody who really likes to be in charge. They like to call the shots. And it looks to me like you're really becoming aware of just how much they like to call the shots, and you're not happy with this. You're realizing that this is not working for you once we get to the end of this time frame. So I'm not sure really if this is the second person we saw kind of step in here, or if this is the first person that we saw in the beginning of this spread. But you've got somebody here that they're just trying to control too much. And you're pretty self-sufficient. So with you being self-sufficient and somebody coming in and trying to be your boss or control you, yeah, that's just not really going over well. It's not appropriate, and it's not going over well. Okay? So that's what we have for this time frame, my dears. I'm going to take a break and come back, and maybe we'll have some more cheerful, happy energy next time around. Let's find out. Thanks for being here. Hello there, Cancers. Welcome back. This time we're looking at energies from November 8th through November 14th. Let's see what's going on with you as you move through this time frame. Looked like last time you were facing a big change. Let's see what's going on at this point. I like to break down the months because I think it's just, it gives us more information if we break down the months into sections rather than looking at just one whole overview of a month. I think that helps us to navigate it a little bit better. So I'm hoping that what is coming up here is stuff that will help you to navigate your month and the energies that you're dealing with a little better than what you would have without the heads up. Of course, that's always kind of the point, isn't it? To be able to maximize the good stuff and minimize the not so good stuff. Okay, let's look at your environment during this time frame, Cancers. What do we have showing up? It looks like you do have friends who are around you, support network. Looks like you are getting over some type of disappointment in the environment, and you're even giving a gift or giving a second chance or sharing your environment in some way with somebody else. You could have a visitor coming in from out of town. You could have, I don't know, a situation with somebody who used to live with you that you're giving them a chance to live with you again or work with you again if the environment is about work. But there's something here about you're giving somebody either a gift or a second chance. So you could be, hostessing or hosting somebody in your environment. And it looks to me like this could be a friend with us. The way this is coming up, this could be a friend that you're giving a gift to. And I think having this person around is really helping you to get over any disappointment from the past. Next thing that we have coming up for you, Cancers, I like that, by the way. That's a good start. Let's look at your subconscious leanings. Okay. So it looks like you, in your mind, you are focused subconsciously on somebody who used to have some kind of authority in your life. First of all, I don't think they technically have authority in your life right now. I'm not sure that they realize they don't have authority in your life. You know what I mean? Like, just to give an example, say that you have a client that you've been doing business with for a long time, and their contract with you has expired. And so now whatever work you're doing for them, there needs to be a new price negotiation happening here. And this person is just not doing any kind of price negotiation or acknowledging that, you're not still working for them. They're still coming to you with work for you to do, just as if everything is still the same. Okay, and that's kind of what I feel like here. There's some kind of situation where you had some kind of agreement or contract with somebody who was in charge or had a big influence on your life in some way, whether this was a significant other, a spouse, a boss, a client, a vendor. And they're not in charge anymore, but they don't realize it. You are doing really good in your life, though. And I think that part of the reason you're doing really good in your life is you're not, even though this person is trying to still be in charge and tell you what to do or how to do things, you're not paying attention to them because technically they don't have that authority anymore. And now that you're getting to make some of your own decisions, then your life is actually going better than it had been before. And I think that this is actually giving you the self-confidence to feel like, it's okay for me to actually tell this person, I don't really need your feedback or your input or your advice at this point anymore. I've got this. And so your subconscious, you're working on this situation. You're working on how to resolve this situation so that this person doesn't still think they're in charge even when they're not. I really feel like you want to be very bold with this person and very blunt with them. I kind of get the sense too, Cancers, that you feel like you need to be very blunt with them because you feel like unless you're blunt with them, they may not get the point, is kind of how you're feeling here. And so your subconscious is really working around, how am I going to handle this situation? Things are going good for me now that I'm making my own decisions and doing my own thing. How do I tell this person I don't want their input anymore in a way that isn't, I think you're not trying to stir anything up or to rock the boat, but you are realizing that you need to take a stand here. And your subconscious is working on, okay, well, how can I do that? All right. Now the next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style. So when we're looking at learning style, I think our central theme here is that you're learning about money or bringing money in, increasing your finances. You're figuring out ways to do that or finding a way to do that. You're doing some research on that right now. I do think that part of your learning style actually is getting ideas about some of the things that you would like to do, some of the dreams that you would like to accomplish. Maybe looking at pictures in magazines or things online that, pictures of the type of home that you would like to buy or the type of vehicle you would like to have or whatever. But I think that you are getting some ideas in your mind about some goals that you want to set or reach. And it doesn't have to be material things like I just gave the examples of. These goals can be something else as well. And so there's that. Like I said, there's also this learning about money. And then there's also some kind of learning about comfort or about health. You may be learning something about maintaining your own health or maintaining somebody else's health. Maybe if there's somebody in your family or around you that has some type of issue. I think you're learning about improving health or making people feel better, maybe making yourself feel better here. And so this could be as simple as finding out where there's a hot springs where you can go and detox or take that person to detox. Or this could be taking a reiki class, by the way, if you want to take a reiki class, I teach reiki. Just say it. But I do think that you are learning something about bringing comfort and bringing ease to the body and maybe also to the mind and the emotions as well, but definitely to the body. All right, so that's learning style. Maybe you're learning how to do that at a level where you could actually charge for your services with learning about money in the mix there. All right, so next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about communication style during this time frame. I think there are a lot of things that you're excited about and that that you feel really good about, that you are wanting to bring into your future. And I think you're talking about those things. You're talking about making plans and getting some ideas about how to actually bring those things into your existence, into your manifestation. Talking, just like learning, there is some talk going on about money, about finances, particularly about saving, the best way to save or invest, but putting money back. And there is also some talk going on here about some disappointments or some things that are making you feel unhappy or uncomfortable. Once again, this may tie in with health, with this whole sense of uncomfortableness. And so you may be talking to other people about things that make them feel uncomfortable or health problems maybe that they're having. This could also be, mental and emotional discomfort as well. And then, or you could be talking about your own. Maybe part of why you're learning about bringing in more health and more comfort into the body might be because you're trying to do some work on your body. That could be. Doesn't necessarily have to be for all of you, but I do feel like that applies for some of you. So that's learning style and communication style as we go through this particular time frame. You guys definitely have some things you're focusing on there. Very specific things. Alrighty, Cancers. By the way, I don't know if I said it during this portion of the video, but if this does not resonate with you, you may want to check your rising or your moon sign. Or you may want to check them just to get a more full picture of what's going on too. Let's look next at work. Wow. For this time frame, Cancers, I don't see you as being very happy doing the work that you do. In fact, I see you as being unhappy there. And I feel like part of the reason that you're unhappy is because you have somebody in the environment there who is antagonistic, maybe more than one person, who is really antagonistic towards you, meaning they're trying to start fights. They're trying to bait you into getting into arguments or debates with them because they feel like they have all the answers. And so whatever you say, whenever they bait you into these types of conversations, whatever they say is never going to be good enough. It's never going to be true. It's never going to be right in their mind. Okay, like they're never going to accept that, oh, you made a good point, or, oh, yeah, this is something that we should be thinking about as a company, or whatever. Okay? And so that's part of why you're not happy at work, because like a lot of what you're seeing there and you're bringing up, people are disregarding. And I feel like people are disregarding it because there's some sense of denial about changes that need to be made in the workplace. Maybe because of COVID, maybe not. But there's some kind of changes that really need to be made in the workplace. And these people, the changes seem really overwhelming to them, is how this is coming across to me. And because those changes seem really overwhelming to them, rather than actually look at the idea that they need to make these changes for their company to survive, it's easier for them to scapegoat the person who brings up the changes, who brings up the things that could help the company move forward. And this is what I feel like they're doing with you, is that they're scapegoating you, or they're just, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the term scapegoat, but it's basically, it's blaming somebody, usually you hear it more of in families, but basically it's blaming somebody for something that really isn't their fault. It may even be the person who is doing the blaming, it may even be their fault, but blaming that person, and usually it's pretty irrational, and really treating them badly. And this is what I feel like is going on here. Like, you're bringing up solutions to some of the situations that your company that you're with sort of needs to have to come back into a good place again, is what I feel like. And they would rather bait you and tell you how ridiculous your ideas are than look at them realistically. And so ultimately what I see happening is there is going to be a situation that is just going to be too over the top for you. And I think you're out the door, you're like, I got no hope for you guys, I've got to leave. That's what I think's going on whenever it comes to work. So for those of you who are watching this ahead of time, what I would say, because it looks like it's going to be a particular incident that just has you saying, you know what, I'm taking my stuff, putting it in the car, and I'm going home. Start looking for another position. Like, as soon as you see this reading, start putting out your resume, start getting something else lined up so that you don't end up leaving yourself kind of high and dry. I'm one of those people, I'm very conservative. If I'm leaving a job, back when I used to have a job and wasn't just working for myself, I always had another job lined up before I left. I just did. And if I had to work both of them at the same time while I gave my 2 weeks notice, I would do that. And that's kind of what I'm encouraging here. Like, be a little bit ahead of this. If you know you're going to walk away from something, then be a little bit ahead of it. Have some resumes out there. Be at least working towards getting a backup before you leave. Because I think this is going to be something that I don't think you're going to be planning on leaving. I think you're going to be unhappy, and I think you're going to know that you're unhappy, but I don't think you're going to be planning on leaving. I think there's going to be this debate, conversation, argument, whatever you want to call it, confrontation, and you're just going to hit the door. And I don't think it's going to be a pre-planned thing. So that's why I'm saying start getting some resumes out there. Start putting out some feelers. Start seeing what is out there. So that you have a backup plan if what I'm seeing here on the table actually comes to be for you. Okay? So that's what we have for work. I think I've talked about work enough. We're already at minute 16. Let's look at inner work next. For some of you, I think that you have been dealing with an addictive situation for a while, or an addiction of some kind, okay? Addictions, when I talk about addictions, this can be anything that becomes obsessive. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a mind-altering substance that we put into our body. It can be playing video games for hours and hours to kind of escape from real life. You know, it can be becoming a workaholic to not participate in home life or whatever. You know, anything that you do to escape from your actual, you know, interacting with your life can be an addictive situation as far as I'm concerned. And so what I'm seeing here is that you're realizing that you're in some type of addictive situation, or you have an addictive, you have something addictive that is going on in your life right now. I think that you know this. I think also somebody is going to hold up the mirror and show this to you and say, look at this. This is what things are coming to. And I know you didn't plan for them to come to this, but this is what they are now. What are you going to do about it? And I think that whatever this is that has, that you have kind of gravitated towards in an addictive way, I think you're walking away from that. I think you are making that decision to walk away from that. And I think you are actually doing that during this time frame, Cancers. And so that's really the inner work, is realizing I've got a problem. Somebody else kind of putting it in your face right about the same time that you're making the realization. You may have made the realization a few hours before, or a couple of days before at the most. And then somebody's putting it in your face. They're saying to you and pointing it out. And you're deciding, you know what? Yeah, I got to stop this. Okay? So that's inner work. Next, let's look at that part of the personality that's being grown or expanded as you go through this particular time frame, Cancers. I really like this. I like part of this. Actually, I like it all. It's just that part of it isn't easy. I mean, it's good and it's worthwhile, but it's just not easy. So what I'm seeing for that part of you that's growing or expanding right now is that I think you're focusing on the people around you, especially if you have children or grandchildren, but you're focusing on the people around you. And I think this has to do with that walk away from the addiction I was just talking about. I think to help you stay focused on the goal or the target, you're focusing on the people around you, especially little ones, if they're in your environment. And I think that you're doing that to help you to stay away from whatever this addictive thing was for you, because I do think that you're having those temptations or those drawings of, oh, you know, I want to go log in and do this, whether it's casino gambling or just playing, I don't know, what's the game out there? World of Warcraft? That's probably a really old one. I'm really out of touch on that stuff. But, you know, or if it is actually an addictive substance, you know, you may be having cravings for whatever it is that was your obsession or your addiction. And so I think that the idea of focusing on little ones in your life and focusing on how you impact them and how you're going to impact the rest of their life is really what's helping you to not give in to those cravings, because I see you having the cravings. I don't see you giving in to the cravings during this time frame. I see you doing really good, and it's because you're refocusing your energy. Every time you think about a craving, then you just kind of go, oh, wait, but what about little Johnny, or what about little Susie? I want them to have a good life, and I want them to have a good parent or have a good grandparent or a good auntie or uncle or whatever. So it's because you're redirecting that focus that you're not giving into these cravings that are definitely coming up during this time frame. Okay, Cancers. Sometimes we get addicted to other people too, just as a footnote there. Next thing that we're looking at, this is something that you stand for. So somebody's probably confronted you about this and you've had to stand up for it. What do we have going on here? So it looks like you took some money out of stash or out of savings because you wanted to do some things. And I do think it wasn't just one thing. I think it was multiple things. Maybe you wanted to go on vacation and, rent a car and, pay for these wonderful experiences at amusement parks or some other place, or maybe you just wanted to do some things, around the house. Maybe you wanted to update some furniture or get furniture or whatever your case may be. But anyway, you took some money out of savings and out of being stashed away to do these things, whatever these things are that you wanted to do, and it really set your budget back. And so I think somebody's confronted you about, well, don't you think you're being irresponsible, blah, 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 blah. And you've had to defend your actions to that person. Now, that person actually sees you as somebody who is self-sufficient, independent, somebody who is happy and who is really kind of truthful, truthful. You're somebody who has integrity. And they're also seeing you as somebody who how to say this, who may not have great inspiration about how to bring the cash flow in. And maybe that's why they're worried, because you took money out of stash. They feel like you're a great person with great integrity, you're self-sufficient, but they seem to have concerns about, okay, well, what are they going to do? What are you going to do to bring in the money? How are you going to replace this money that you took out of savings? So they seem to be worried about that even after your conversation with them. All right. Next thing we're looking at, Cancer, is the pivot point during this particular time frame. This is where things start to go in a little bit of a different direction for you. It looks like you're going back to doing something that you've done before in the past, and you are actually stashing some money back again. You're creating the things, the manifestations that you want to. This may be an old job that you're going back to, and now they're paying you better than they did before, because now that you've been gone, they realize how important you are. Could be, doesn't have to be, but there is definitely something that you're going back to from the past. I'm hearing getting back to basics and putting some money back in savings. Maybe you're just getting back into this idea of following your budget and putting money back into savings. Whatever it is that you're getting back into is really working for you, though. Now, what else is going on at the same time frame? I don't think you're doing official work. So whatever this is where you're putting money in savings, this is something that you're going back to, but I think it's like a moonlighting type situation. It's a sideline. It's something that you're doing for yourself. Because I am very clearly seeing that you aren't working. You really don't feel like you have the energy or the effort to work, and you don't have, if you're an employee, you don't have an employer right now. You don't have any, and if you're a contractor, you may not have enough contracts to actually keep you busy. And the way the energy comes across, I think that you're really not feeling that excited about getting your resume out there or pounding the pavement looking for that next contract either. That may be why you're not doing that much of that type of work too, because you're just not really putting yourself out there for it. So, still though, let's not forget you still have income coming in because you're stashing money away, so you're getting income from somewhere. And at the same time, I think that you're paying something off. You are paying off some kind of old bill. I do think that you have other bills too, and you're kind of, I think you're sort of dancing to cover them. Like it's an act of art to get all the other bills covered that you need to. But I see you doing it, and I see you doing that successfully. And I also see you being hopeful about your future financially as well. It's really interesting. It strikes me that whatever was going on in your environment last time and seemed to be the focus for most of that time frame doesn't really seem to be showing up that much in this energy at all anymore. I think we saw maybe 1 or 2 touches of it earlier, if that. Now you're focusing on finances and money and the job thing. So this is really interesting to me, and this is exactly why we break down a month and we don't look at just one month all by itself as if that's all going to be the same energy, because it's just not. All right, let's see where you are at the end of this particular time frame, Cancer. Oh yeah, baby, you're back to work. Once you get to the end of this time frame, you are back to work, collaborating with somebody. I think you're feeling really good about it. This was your decision. So somebody offered you this, but I think that this was one that you decided, okay, you know what? I like this one. I just get a really good feeling that you're excited to be doing the work that you're doing or working where you're working. There's something about this situation that's making you very excited. Maybe you're working for a company that you've been wanting to work for years or decades, or you're doing some kind of work. Maybe you're in a place where they're paying for your training and you're learning a trade that you've always been interested in, or a skill set that you've always been interested in. But I see this as, I think you actually did have to make a decision by the time we get to the end of this time frame about who it is you're going to work for. Okay? And I think that decision came in suddenly, because before we saw you weren't working, but you were doing something to create an income. And now this very next section, this is in quick sequence after what we saw before. So I think that choice of where you were going to work came in while you weren't working. And I think part of the reason you weren't working was you wanted to take some time and see what else showed up and really think about where you wanted to be, where you were going to be more happy. And I think you found a place that you enjoy the work there. That's really cool. Okay? So anyway, that's the end of that time frame, Cancers. Let me go ahead and take a little break, and I'll come back and we'll look at the third week. Thank you guys for being here. All right, Cancers, we are back again. This time we're looking at November 15th to the 21st. And this is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. If you find that your sun sign doesn't resonate so much, you may want to check your rising or moon sign. If you're looking for your romance forecast, you may want to check your Venus sign, although that's also good for finances sometimes too. You kind of have to experiment with all that stuff and see what exactly works for you, depending on what houses are and all that good stuff. Anyway, this is for November 15th through the 21st, if I didn't already say that. Let's put down some cards and see what is showing up. La da 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 da, la da da da. Okay, Cancer. Starting off with your environment. What do we have happening here? All right, so first of all, it does look like you're continuing something that you had started out sort of as a leap of faith with your environment or with somebody in the environment. What do I want to say about this? In in the environment, I do think that you're passing along some good information or advice to somebody. Remember, this can be home, doesn't have to be though, could be work. I think that what is going on here is that you are continuing on with something that you started as a leap of faith originally in the environment, not knowing where that was exactly going to end up. And now what's happening during this time frame of the 15th to the 21st is that some of the things that are going on there are falling through the cracks. They're not being taken care of appropriately or in a timely manner. And I think what's happening is you are basically training or helping somebody to understand and delegating some responsibilities, and you're letting that person know how to handle some of these things that have been falling through the cracks on you, so that basically you're training somebody to help you to keep all the plates in the air whenever it comes to your environment, whether that's home or whether that's work or whatever it may be. Okay. Next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Cancers. So Cancers, I think somebody is expressing how they feel to you, and they may be inviting you out on some type of outing, or maybe some type of staying in, but some type of, I don't know, let's just say pampering event, romantic event of some kind. And I think that you are doing whatever you can to make sure that you look attractive for that event, and getting prepared for this event, for this little romantic event. So this is all in your subconscious. All these preparations are in your subconscious. Maybe even the invitation is in your subconscious. Maybe you're thinking about, if so-and-so invites me out for something like this, or invites me in for something like this, whichever way it might go, this is what I'm going to wear, this is how I'm going to act, this is what I'm going to do, just getting ready. Yeah, I'm going to leave that there. That's going on in the subconscious. I'm not sure if you've actually got, I think some of you will have gotten the invitation already manifested to you. Some of you are just working on in the subconscious, kind of a what if daydreamy type of thing. That may or may not happen in the future. I think you're getting ready regardless. All right. Okay. Next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about learning style and also about communication style. Okay, Cancers. I do think that there's something that you're trying to find out about or research, dig into for information. And I think that you're having a really hard time finding the information that you're looking for. It's almost like it's cloaked or like it's masked. When you do find information, I think that the information that comes to the surface is going to be things that you take personally and that they cut. I mean, I'm sorry to say this. And I think that what happens is, as you start to have this information surface, I think it shocks you, and I think you confront the person that this information is about, and I think really you're hoping that they're going to say, oh, no, that's not true. I don't know how that information came across to you because it's nothing like real life. I think that's what you're hoping for. But I think whenever you confront this person about this new information that's come to the surface, I think they drop some kind of bomb. They drop some kind of bomb on you. They give you some kind of message that you're really not expecting. And I think it hurts. I think it hurts, Cancers. I'm sorry to say this, but having the heads up is always, it's the truth that sets us free. So, and I have an agreement with Sacred Spirit that whatever comes through for these readings is for you guys' highest and best good. So I have to trust Sacred Spirit that you guys knowing this is going to help you in some way. Otherwise, why would it come up? Okay. Let's look next at communication style. I do see a lot of communication happening. I do feel like it's really emotion based. So talking about feelings, talking about emotions, talking about things that have given you strong feelings. And I feel like at a certain point during this time frame, you're feeling like I think you're restricted from talking about these feelings anymore. I think you feel like whoever it is that gave you these feelings may literally be blocking you, blocking your messages, that type of thing. Or it may be that as you're talking to friends, they're just overhearing about it. And so you're basically getting the impression that, well, I've said enough, because they just are not willing to listen to anymore. And I think that's really sad because, a lot of us actually process things by talking about it. But this is where I see you as far as in communication, feeling really restricted about what you say anymore. I really think that when you're alone, I think that there could be a lot of crying, and I think there could be a lot of destruction, punching walls, wiping things off of tables, just angry destruction type stuff could be happening here, Cancers. But I think that you're saving that for when you're alone. I don't think that you're giving that other person the satisfaction of seeing you like this, or anybody else really. Okay. Whew. I am sorry to have to give you that message. Let's look at work. See what we have at work. Oh, I like work, actually. It does look like work is a little bit of an escape for you. Like it's just things are a lot more calm, a lot less dramatic at work than they are with the personal stuff. Going to work, it feels like you can kind of breathe. It feels to me like people are respecting your work. They are, there's respect for you at work. And so you may not be feeling your best, but just being in that environment sort of helps you to feel a little bit grounded and get your feet under you a little bit. I do think that you are confiding in somebody who would be like a supervisor or a boss, or if you work for yourself, this would be somebody who has an influence on maybe the amount of work that you do. This could be like a regular client or whatever. But I do think you're confiding in somebody, and what you're finding is that this person is a true friend. This person is a true friend. They're not afraid to be there for you, If you're this is somebody who has high standards. They expect a certain level of performance. And they expect that from themselves just as much as from anybody else. But it's important to them that other people do have integrity in their work and that they do live up to a certain expectation as far as performance goes. But I do feel like when you talk to this person about the situation that you're facing and a little bit about how you're doing with it, I think that they are able to understand how that could be influencing you, and able to, I think that they are able to be supportive of you and cut you a little slack. I'm not going to say a lot of slack, because I don't feel like they're cutting you a lot of slack. I think they feel bad for you for what you're going through. I think they're still expecting your normal performance. I don't think they're expecting your over-the-top performance that you normally bring to the table. They're still expecting your normal performance, and I think they are understanding of the idea that you are where you are right then. And what's interesting to me right here is that by this person's attitude, this boss or supervisor or whoever you have a contract with or whatever, by this person's attitude, it actually inspires you to really do a better job for them. And I think that you may actually, after having this conversation with them, I think that you may actually even be doing a better job for them than what you were before everything hit the fan. Just because I think you're really impressed with their integrity and their humanity. Okay, so that's work. And let's remember, you're at a newer place right now. You're not at the place you used to be, because we had that job change earlier in the month. Okay, so that makes it even more impressive. Let's look at inner work. Your inner work right now is to just sort of steer your thoughts away from the drama of what has happened in your personal life and focus on things that are more peaceful and more happiness making instead. You know, when we tell ourselves, well, I'm not going to think about something, well, we're thinking about it when we decide we're not going to think about it. You know, when we say we're not going to think about something, it just makes it that much harder to not think about it. Instead of not thinking about something, the best thing that we can do is just focus on something else. Think about something else. That allows those other thoughts to fall away a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, as we're focusing on something else. And I think your inner work really has to do with focusing on things that are peaceful, things that are happiness-making, things that make you feel satisfied. Those are the things that you're working on focusing right now for your inner work. And you're working on taking control back of your own emotions and of your own life, and really finding that joy and that wonder in living again. You know, like we do when we're operating at our highest and best. Little kids have that joy and that wonder, you know, when they're first born, and as they come up, you can see that joy and that wonder of everything. I mean, have you ever seen a little kid react to a bubble? That's the type of energy that I'm seeing here, that you're really focusing on taking control of your emotions and getting back to that place where you can fully revel in the wonder of the life that you have. And so that's your inner work. La da 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 da, la da da da. Next thing we're looking at is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now, Cancers. What's going on there? You're definitely taking a break, and I don't think that you actually planned on taking a break. But you are taking a break, and as you are taking this break, you are regrouping, you're rethinking things. You have time to think about things that you hadn't thought about before. And so you're regrouping during this time frame. And as you come out of that downtime or out of that break time, you're finding yourself to be really impatient with the idea of there's somebody that you had some sort of long-term or serious contract or commitment with that's just been turned on its head. That contract or commitment is no longer in effect, no longer in force. And I think as you're coming out of this downtime, you're finding yourself really impatient with the idea that that contract or that commitment is a done deal. You're not happy about that. I don't feel like you would go back into this contract or commitment right now, Cancers. What I do feel is the resentment of that was supposed to be something that lasted a lot longer than it did. It wasn't fair that it shut down early, and there's some anger and some resentment around that part of it, even though you know that it's not the ideal for you to go back to. Okay, so that's where you're growing and expanding right now. In that downtime, you have a chance to really think about things, and you're finding yourself in this sort of push-pull dichotomy of I don't want that back, but I'm angry that it ended type of energy. And that's not unusual. Please don't feel like, you're weird or anything. That's not unusual. All right, next thing that we have talks to me about those things that you stand for. So this is probably something that happened that somebody said something to you about, possibly confronted you about. It looks to me like you're trying to think really logically about somebody or something that used to be a part of your past that you had some good memories of. And I think that you were hoping for I'm not even going to say that. I think that as you're looking at this logically, you're understanding that it was appropriate for it to end, and that closing the door on this thing is going to be what opens the door for you to something that is going to work better. But I feel like this is all logical. I don't really feel like the heart's like along for this ride just yet. I feel like you know it in your head, but that information hasn't made it to your heart yet. Your head knows that, this was not the perfect match or the perfect pair. Your heart hasn't really got there yet. And so somebody is talking to you about this, possibly even confronting you about, the logic that's going on here. And, you're basically having to defend it. Now, how this other person sees you is they see you as really in a vulnerable position right now. Maybe more emotionally than anything else, but they do see you as somebody who's in a vulnerable position right now. They see you as actually having some relief by being detached from whatever this situation was, but they're also seeing you as somebody who is still buying into some of the illusions that were a part of this situation before, that you haven't really been able to clear the fog from your eyes and totally see the truth yet, is what they are thinking as they communicate with you. Okay? Now, let's look at your pivot point or your flex point for this time frame. This is where things start to go a little bit of a different direction for you during this week, Cancers. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. All right. What do we have happening? So I'm going to tell you the central energy is that you have taken some time to really think things over and figure out what makes you tick, what your priorities are, what you want to shoot for, what makes you trigger, all of that good stuff. And you have come out of that point of isolation during this flex point. It looks like as you're coming out of that point of isolation, I think you have the opportunity to get back together with this person that we keep seeing from the past. I think that's an offer that is made to you, and I think that you're saying not interested. Even if the offer isn't made to you, I think during your time of seclusion, you've come to the conclusion that you're just not interested, and to get back together with this person would be a really rash decision or rash behavior. Also, during this time frame, I don't think that you're really happy with what's going on with money or finances. It looks like you could be spending a lot, spending more than you normally do. And I think that this may be shopping therapy, but for others of you, this could be spending money on a hobby or something. But for a lot of you, it could be shopping therapy, where you're out there kind of buying things that you don't necessarily need just because it makes you feel good to have new things as you're going through what could potentially be emotionally a hard time. Okay. Also going on at the same time, I think there's more information that's coming to light about things that are going on in the present with this other person during this time. And I think that you're seeing that they're getting their karmic reward for how they treated you. Reward is an interesting word for that. And I think that as you're seeing them get their karmic reward, that somehow allows you to finally bring this to an end. All this mental activity about getting back together, not getting back together, because it seems like you've had a lot of thoughts about, well, I don't want to get back together. Well, if you're thinking you don't want to get back together, you've been thinking, should I get back together? I think that seeing this person, seeing them deal with their karma has, and I don't know if it's how they've dealt with their karma. I don't know if it's because they've blamed you for their karma. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something about having received their karma for how they treated you helps you close the door. You're just done with considering, if this person asks me, would I get back together with them again? You're done with that. You've made your decision now. Okay. Now, Cancer, where do we see you at the end of this time frame? You're getting really focused right now, okay? Those of you who have not yet officially ended things, if that shutdown was just a mental and emotional, okay, I've decided, then when we get to the end of this time frame, I think you're making things official, that this is done. You no longer want to be partnered with this person. And I've been going with romantically partnered for pretty much this whole time frame. This could be a business partnership, but because of the suit of cards that I see coming up here predominantly, I think this is more of a personal thing, whether it's a romantic partnership, family, friendship, something like that. Okay? So I do think this is probably in your personal life for the grand majority of you. And so you're getting really focused. When you come to the end of this week, you are really focused on making it official that, okay, done, 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 done. I am out of here. You may even be moving out of the house, but you could be getting paperwork drawn up to go to court and get a divorce. But you're really focused on making sure that this is official in whatever way that applies in your life. Okay? So that's what we have for that time frame, Cancers. Let me go ahead, take a little break, come back, and we'll look at the last 9 days of November. See you in a minute. Thanks for being here. Hello there, Cancer. Thank you so much for stopping by I guess I shouldn't say for stopping by. Thank you for being here for the last segment of time for your November in-depth tarot forecast. You did have your first card fall. I'm going to go ahead and put that into position. Finish shuffling things up here. This is for sun sign, moon sign, or ascendant. If your sun sign isn't resonating for you, you may want to play a little bit with what sign does. And then I know other people actually look at sun sign, ascendant, and moon sign to get more of a full picture for themselves of what's going on. that might work for you too. Like I say, you should play with that a little bit. See what works best for you. I know for me, for the longest time, my sun sign gave me my love life, and my ascendant gave me my career information. Now it seems to have kind of flipped around the last few months. Excuse me. Okay, we are going to take a peek at your environment, Cancers. See what we have coming up here. See what we have coming up here. Looks to me like in your environment, there is somebody that you're missing right now. So this could be a boss or a supervisor. This could be somebody who is a very stable, anchoring type of energy in your environment. This could be a significant other, but somebody who's a very stable influence in the environment. I feel like you're missing that person right now. But at the same time that you're missing that person, because they're not around, you have a chance to do some of the things that you've been wanting to do for a long time. And this gives you the extra time on your hands to be able to do that. Okay. So that's environment for Cancer. Next, we're looking at your subconscious leanings. La da 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 da. All right, so money really seems to be on your mind right now, Cancers. You are looking at keeping everything on budget, on track, keeping that income coming in, making sure expenses aren't more than the income. It looks to me like you're feeling like things are a little bit tight or a little bit short, so you're putting extra energy into making sure that that budget stays on track. You're not buying a lot of extra stuff. You're not going for frivolity. You're just really staying focused on bringing that budget back around because you don't like this idea of not, of not feeling like you have enough. And you definitely don't feel like you have enough to share with others right now. Okay. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and then also communication style. La da 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 da. Okay, so learning style has a lot to do with things that you care about, things that you are passionate about. You're learning about some of those things that make you feel happy. Yeah, you may also be learning that you've won some type of award or accolade, that there's somebody that wants to show some type of appreciation to you. Okay. And then the last thing that we see you learning about is money. And I think this has to do with, I think you're actually studying investments or charities. For some of you, you're looking at charities. For others of you, this is investments. But this is, you're looking at and learning about places where you can put your money. All right, so let's look at communication style. I think that you're being very straight up with your communication, and which means that I think you are letting people know very clearly where you stand about things so that there really isn't any doubt about that. I do see some really happy communication, maybe even a celebration showing up here. And then once again, communication also about money. So where you're learning about where to put money, I think you're also communicating with some people about actually doing that as well during this time frame. And that's interesting. It's not the first time this month money has come up for you Cancers as far as in these two areas. All right. Next thing that we are going to look at has to do with work. Work, work, work. Go away. Oh my goodness. Not you guys. All right, so work, what we have coming up here is that I think, what is happening here? Looks to me like you're putting down some of the responsibilities at work so that you have a chance to sort of pull back and regroup on something or pick up the pieces on something that has happened. I don't think you're very happy about this, to tell you the truth. We're looking at November, astrologers, and today is October the 7th as I'm recording this. And we're looking at end of November. I know astrologers are talking about the COVID coming back again. It should be, I think they're saying by the end of November it should be starting to die back down again for the second time. But so I don't know if this has to do with COVID, that you're putting down some responsibilities. Maybe you can't do certain things because of restrictions because of COVID, or if there's something else going on here. But it does look like there's some way that you're picking up the pieces whenever it comes to work, and part of picking up those pieces has to do with putting down some of the responsibilities that you have had. And like I said, I don't see you being very happy about having to do this. It seems more like it's a situation that you're kind of backed into the corner to where you have to do this. As far as inner work, what do we have going on here? I'm really feeling that there's a lot that has to do with communication. I think that you are taking some time to look deep within yourself, and I think you may sort of stumbling almost across some kind of shadowy aspect of yourself that you're not too proud of. And it just comes across to me that with these responsibilities that you've put down, like you have time to work on this shadowy aspect. And I think you are working on this shadowy aspect that you're not so happy with. You're working on changing some of those habits or some of those thought patterns or some of those behaviors that you're not really liking. Okay? I don't even know how I did this because I've been doing this spread for years now, but I actually put down like an extra stack of cards, and they sort of come up like in the center of the spread almost. So I'm going to just call this the central theme for this 9-day time period. You do have a choice showing up here. There's a lot of confusion around this choice. I think we have a lot of confusion about, oh, this makes sense. This ties into what we saw earlier with communication and learning. So you have a choice about where to put your money, where to stash it back, where to save it, where to invest it, that type of thing. And as you are making this choice, I think there's a lot of confusion around this choice. And so I think that you end up just deciding to put your money in the place that seems the least confusing for you, the one that you sort of understand, or that you understand better than any of the other places. Interesting. All right, let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Grown or expanded. Oh goodness. You have some Pluto energy coming in here. Oh. There is some kind of situation in your personal life that has to do with somebody that you care about or have affection for. And this situation had been dead. Had been labeled as officially dead. And then it came back to life. And as soon as it came back to life, it's like it disappeared again. And what I'm not thrilled about when I look at this, well, this whole thing just kind of isn't thrilling because it's just messy. But what really I don't like about this is that when it came back to life, whatever this relationship or interaction was, whenever it came back to life, it sparked those old feelings in you. And then whenever it disappeared, it left you hurting again, missing that person and just feeling abandoned again. I feel like it's again. It's like all over again is what I'm hearing. So I don't like this at all. It looks like there's some kind of cyclical relationship that you're in. And I think I talked to you guys about this, like, I don't know, not October, but September, I think it was, that this was showing up hot and heavy. If you guys are still dealing with a cyclical relationship like this, it's not a bad thing to get some reiki or some kind of energetic intervention to help you to draw in more positive relationships for yourselves. So, I do reiki long distance. If you decide that you want to do something like that, get a hold of me and we can talk about what you can expect from that as far as help along that type of path. Yeah, because like I said, I'm really not liking that this kind of puts you back in a funk. I think that you worked hard to get out of that funk before, and this puts you back in the funk again. It just kind of comes and goes. It sort of kind of comes and goes with the resolve, and then right back out. The energy of this other person. All right. Let's look next at those things that you stand for. This is going to be something that somebody's talked to you about, possibly confronted you about, definitely questioned you about, and you've had to more or less defend this to some degree. So what I see here is that you were given a beautiful opportunity, and I think your intuition was really in line with it. Your intuition was really keying in on this and knew that it was a beautiful opportunity. And I think that you have taken this opportunity and you're standing your ground with it. I'm not sure from these three cards what type of opportunity this is. Of course, this is a general reading. First of all, not everything's going to apply to every single person. But secondly, if you want to know what is going on with your specific energy, then you want to get a private reading where I can focus on only your energy instead of all the Cancers who are watching this video. But anyway, your intuition is definitely right on, and there's some kind of gift that you're receiving, feeling really grateful for it, and you're standing up for it. So somebody may be saying to you something along the lines of, who do you think you are to deserve a gift like that? Or who knows what they're saying, but you're defending you're defending the idea that you got this gift and that you knew exactly what to do with it intuitively. All right, and then how other people see you, or at least how this other person sees you. They see you as somebody who has been disappointed and who is kind of waiting. They see you as waiting for the resurgence of a contract or a commitment. They see you as waiting for that to come back. They're not seeing what I'm seeing in these cards, are they? Okay. Next thing that we're going to look at is going to be telling me about your flex point during this time frame. This is going to be where things start to change and go in a little bit of a different direction for you. Okay? So, flex point. You have a situation where there is I think there's going to be some physical distance created between you and somebody else. I think that this person has decided that they are really angry, and I think they're saying some very hurtful things. I think they're basically telling you, Cancers, that they don't love you anymore, or that they never did love you, or something like that. And so I think that either you're moving out, they're moving out, there's some way that some physical distance is being created here. I don't think you want to hear this stuff anymore. Who would want to, right? At the same time, yep, there's the physical distance. There's also no communication going on. And as I think that once this person creates the physical distance, I think that you go no contact with this person and you start out on a whole new beginning and you start making plans that involve you looking out for you instead of making plans hoping that they come back or you know, being stuck in your mind about, well, should I take them back or shouldn't I take them back? No, you're doing a whole brand new start where you're just planning on things that benefit you, and you're not doing things because, well, if this person comes back, then they would like this. Okay? We all do it. Don't get defensive, Cancers. All right, so what else is also happening here? I feel like you're under a whole lot of stress. You've got a lot of plates in the air right now that you're trying to get accomplished and just keep everything flowing, whether it's financially or whether it's just time-wise. You've just got a lot of things that you're trying to keep covered and keep in the air. And it looks to me like you're not feeling top-notch. You may be feeling tired or low energy. I'm not sure if Mars is out of retrograde by this point or not. Either way, I think you may be feeling tired or low energy and just not very inspired about really doing anything during this time frame. Even with your new plans that you're making, I just feel like doing anything to get towards them may be a little bit too much effort right now. All right. Where do we see you at the end of this month? You have a lot of clarity that's coming in at the end of this month. You're starting to, I'm not even going to say starting to, but I think there's a lot of new, fresh clarity. There's a lot of new, fresh understanding of some things that have happened in the past, and I think you're cutting some cords. You are cutting some cords here once we get to the end of this month. And I still feel like you're not feeling like you have a lot of energy, a lot of oomph, a lot of gusto about doing anything right now. But I feel like you're more in a healing process, and part of that healing process is actually cutting cords between you and another person. For those of you not familiar with cutting cords, it is an energetic practice that can help us as we are, it can help us as we're separating from somebody, as we are getting over them. It also can help us just in everyday use to help us to be able to make good decisions that are really based on our best interest, not the best interest of everybody around us. So anyway, I do see you cutting cords between yourself and somebody from the past as a part of your healing to move forward, because you've seen some clarity. I think that the more information that surfaces to you, the more you realize, you know what, I thought I wanted that, but I really don't. And that's what allows you to cut those cords. I still don't see you feeling good. I still don't see you feeling really energized yet. I think that's going to come as you get further along in your healing process. So I'm not sure exactly if that's going to show up December or January. I feel like it's actually going to show up really much more strongly in January than in December, to tell you the truth. All right. So anyway, that's what we have for your month, Cancer. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me, watching this video. Thank you for those of you who are putting thumbs up on this video and sharing it. Every interaction like that, even the comments, every single interaction does improve this video standing in the logarithm with YouTube, which means more people see it. So I appreciate you guys' help in making me more visible. Also, thank you to those of you who are subscribed and to are subscribing right now. And thank you to those of you who are ordering private sessions with me, whether they're Reiki sessions or whether they're readings. It is because of every one of your support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love for my living. So seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if I don't see you here for a private between now and then I'll see y'all back on the next video. Peace out.